What is good? What's up? What's up, YouTube? I am your host, Roy Robb. You're on the Roy Robb Show. We about to break this down a little bit different. I got a new special guest on this particular YouTube video, my boy T. Perry. Travis, man, who are you, man? Some of my people who may see you on my other channel may know who you are, but just introduce. This is more of a Greek channel. People who like to follow inspirational things. I do this for the culture, and you just want them down to earth brother. So just tell people who you are, whether you're Greek or not, doesn't matter. You just one of my people. So just say what's good, man.
Hey man, what's good, y'all? It's T Perry. You I'm a regular in the Last Dragon, but this is my first time being on this one, so it's a pleasure and it's an honor. I didn't pledge, but I do have ties uh to the Greek side of the fraternities and things like that. So
No doubt, no
I
doubt.
do have
So
connections.
no doubt. So what I wanted to do today, I kind of wanted to, in general, just break down a lot of conversation around Black culture, what's happening now,
Mhm.
this paradigm shift, what we should be thinking about, uh, talking about, just like where we come from. There's a lot of stuff going on with the virus. Everyone now has is fully aware of it, and and I think people should just start thinking about this in a different manner. So, like, what I'm going to do with today's conversation, I'm gonna challenge you to be thinking about what was everything like for you pre-virus, and what everything is like now. What does it mean for you where you live, as far as what are you doing on your day to day, your work, who you interact with. Kind of break down some of those little basics, man. Let's just talk about it.
So life before this was everyday hustle and bustle, man. Like,
What do you do? Where do you work at?
so I was in the military. I just recently departed, recently separated from the military back on the 9th of this month. So now I'm currently in the process of, well, my background check just came back, so I'm currently in the process moving forward with the for the notary public for the state of Texas. So that's what's going on right now. It's, professionally right now. Uh, we should be hearing something back soon as far as shows getting kicked back up for mixed martial arts on a regional level. So I do work with that as well. So um,
Okay, so you work on the mixed martial arts side, so you've seen probably a substantial change, considering that social distancing is a big importance. So tell us about that.
mhm.
How has that impacted it? Before that, what were you seeing? What was going on? Was it shows regularly? Tell me what's happening with that.
Yeah, there was never a month that a show wasn't happening where it was, maybe you had several regional shows having several regional promotions having shows every month. Sometimes they were overlapped. The UFC and Bellator and PFL, they were all up and clicking on all cylinders when it came to their lane and what they were doing. Once I did it, my last show I worked was March 2nd in Dallas for LFA, and the very next show I was gearing up for was the April 3rd show, and it was supposed to be in Colorado Springs. Well, between that March 2nd show and that Colorado Springs show, that's when all of this started jumping off. So when that happened, everybody, whether it was WWE, well, not really WWE, whether it was UFC, Bellator, didn't matter. Like if it was sports
Bare knuckle
related,
boxing,
bare knuckle
LFA.
boxing didn't even matter. Even basketball, you know, everything got cut. Not we canceling it, and in turn, gyms were closing their doors. Uh, People were having to find alternative ways to train. Instructors and coaches. They were coming up with different ways to keep their students and their fighters engaged and keep them fresh, keep their bodies ready, keep their minds flowing. I saw a lot of and I saw it all across social media, not even just with my gym. Uh, a lot of a lot of folks were going virtual with it. You
Man,
know,
man, let me tell you. So that's a great
they would set
segue
up
right
Zoom meetings,
there.
they would set up WebEx meetings.
That's a great
Hmm.
that's a great segue right there because you're talking about how pre-virus you saw the interaction, everything was flowing, everything was moving on every level from maybe working out day to day, from going to work, interacting with people, picking up food, getting food delivered, the things you touch, doorknobs. It was almost like pre-virus. It has completely changed. I think there has been a heightened awareness now, whereas even some people wasn't even taking it serious as they're
Nah,
finally starting to
uh,
take it serious now to a certain degree. Speak to that where you live.
where I live, so I live in San Antonio. Um, it was it was a little strange in the beginning. People didn't know how how serious they should take it. So, like gas stations, several stores. They had the sign on the door saying we're not letting you in if you don't have a mask on, that sort of thing. But then you walk into the store and you got maybe three or four folks that don't have masks. So it's like, okay, we're listening to the news. Okay, well it's serious, but not as serious. But now it's real serious, and that's like, okay, what are we supposed to do? So in a lot of and Austin is only but maybe like a little over an hour away from me, and that's where the capital is. That's where the governor sits, and so many people went up to the cap, to the Capitol steps and to protest on these sorts of things. Like, hey man, open the economy back up. And people are saying like, look, of course there's going to be more. Of course the numbers are going to raise significantly as far as the COVID-19 cases because not everybody had access to testing, and so and I'm gonna push it to the way of like these states that said that they were going to open up and people felt like it was premature because the numbers are going to skyrocket. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The numbers are going to skyrocket because from the genesis of it all the way up until now, the access of tests have become more abundant. You know what I'm saying?
They're going
So
right.
of course, the numbers are gonna raise. But right now, the economy is opened up in Texas. The economy is opened back up. Some are at 50%. Some are at 25%. Uh, I know down here, the tattoo shops in Texas, they were protesting really hard because when gyms were allowed to open up and restaurants were allowed to open up, uh, they weren't.
Mm.
And I'm not saying that being tattoo parlors and tattoo studios are essential, but if you peel back the layer on that, the protocols that they have to follow and the training and the certifications that they have to have, it kind of mirrors what nurses and doctors have to have.
Mm. Mm.
They
Bro,
have to be like tattoo parlors are some of the most sanitary places you can walk into because they have to be.
they have to be right for so one of the things that I think about a lot, I think there's this paradigm shift happening. There's a new shift. A lot of changes are happening. Pre all the virus, like I said before, life was completely different. And I think, like you just stated, even partially in your statements, things were shifting to virtual.
Hmm.
We're going to see so much of that going forward. One of the things that is going to be critical is how people cope and deal with it because you'll see things if the outbreak happens again and they say we need to curve it again and people stay at home, we can get to the point where people are spending 2/3 of their time inside of their house. Think about it. This quarantine life may become normal because I literally stay inside my house for when I sleep at least 7 to 8 hours. I stay inside my house for 7 hours, 7 to 8 hours of work, and this leg way in between the time to go to sleep again might be trying to figure out if I'm going out to get something to eat or whatever I'm trying to do, pick up something, or I might stay in the house the whole day. So you start
Right.
thinking about this in a different way. Well, what does that mean for the person who has this world has been built on for economics and economy? We've been consuming. We don't produce that much. We used to be a long time ago a agriculture place, crops, farms. We moved to manufacturing. They took that offshores, like crazy amounts of profits. We literally changed in the past 2 decades overnight. It seems like it's going to be this shift because we're now saying we're no longer going to be globalized and the supply chain is going to cut off. They're now, every news station keeps talking about deglobalization. Why? Because what we do, we make or we don't make it, we source everything, but everything, a lot of products are being made in China. A lot of products are being made on other emerging markets, and we're taking those products in, and we have few. We're more of a service country now, and now the shift now is the new agenda is like make America great again, mean make everything home. What does that mean for consumers? Possibly that things will cost more. Those big companies took it overseas for cheap labor.
Mm-hmm.
You bring that back now, you have higher costs. It could be a thing of no, less relationships, less. If there's no movement, that means there might be a huge shift on what we have access to. I mean, you're talking about things that are will change dramatically. Like that's just one. Like even the location where you're at. For example, the CEO of Redfin was on. Um, I'm not sure if it was CNBC or Bloomberg, but he basically stated that people are now searching for homes, of course, in more with more space, big like in between each other. If they're in a big city, they're saying I'm up out. I'm not going to stay in LA. I don't need to if I can work from home permanently. I can go buy me a beautiful $300,000 mansion in Texas somewhere. Leave this $300,000 hut in LA, San Francisco, wherever I'm at, a little small nothing, continue to make a lot of money doing what I do from home. Like imagine this shift that's gonna happen, and literally it's gonna be like, and it's gonna be like this is the new norm. Think about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy to think that because this type of thing is only affecting when it comes to having to leave if you're used to leaving the house for work, things like that. If you've done stuff that kept you out of the house most of the day, now this is keeping you in, like you said. This is that's only affecting those category of people. Like take for instance, like my uncle, he's Air Force retiree. He's been doing IT work from home for the past what? I'm 30, I'm 32. He's been doing it for the past what, 22 years?
Wow.
So it's like
No big deal for him, right?
he ain't no big thing. Like he lives in, so I saw his whole setup. He's like, I do like, hey, like nephew, I do my thing. I pull up what I need to pull up. I got ESPN on. He was like, man, I don't even put on pants. I just get in my robe, sit there, get my coffee, and get on the conference call. I know the cue when it's time for me to talk. I give my little 5 minutes. I'm done. So this right here is not. It's nothing. It's nothing for those do their work. like from home base.
I'm interested to see how America copes with a spike. If we get it spiked up again because people are not taking it serious enough, I'm extremely interested to see what happens next.
Well, so I had a conversation with a friend of mine's about that. We were kind of looking at the timeline and basically like what was being. So if you look at it, the COVID-19 case or the first rumblings of it happened back in like October, November timeframe. That's fall, winter. It became it became U.S. knowledge to the public like that. For those who don't pay attention to international news, um, it became it was on the front page of the L.A. Times the day after Kobe died. It was on the site. It was on the right side of the page. But of course, what the tragedy that just happened, nobody's really paying attention to that, right? Well, that was January.
20th,
Yeah,
right?
that's this year.
This year, January 20th. Something like that, right? When like January 20th, I
Yeah,
think.
January 20th. So now a month. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So now you're going right after the memorial. March rolls around, boom. Like March 13th, March
Two
15th,
two
stuff.
2 months later. Exactly,
It's
bro.
so everything changed that quick. So now you're seeing everything got closed down to kind of slow everything up because there's no vaccine, there's nothing. But at the same time, the leader of the free world is saying he's allowing these governors to police their own states. So as crazy of a pandemic that this is, or that is being portrayed as, not every state nobody, none of it's uniform.
None of it, right? None of it.
So now it's okay. Well, what's really happening? Okay, now you're starting to see the states um that were shut down. They're becoming more. They're opening back up now.
Right.
States like California is like, yo, we extending this thing out until we, really get a handle on this. So that, but everything is happening, you know, spring, summertime, because apparently it's not as it's not of a, as a concern during the summer. But what's coming after the summer? Fall. What's fall season? That's flu season. So we're gonna see how the country and or the world reacts when you still may not have a vaccine for this thing, but flu season's coming up.
It's coming, bro.
So we
It's
gonna we like we ain't gonna have to wait long.
it's
We ain't
coming,
have to wait
man.
long.
So I guess my thing is, I challenge everyone. I challenge you to tell a friend to tell a friend. Think about how your life is going to be after, and what is going to make it better for you and your family to stay safe, to stay informed, to stay healthy, to progress forward, because it's really been an attack. What we're going to see is potentially, because if you notice, the Fed chair Powell basically been letting people know, like, people who make a certain amount or lower will be impacted the highest. And I think he was roughly saying around that 40K amount. Families making 40K or lower, you look at, you might see a shift where, I don't know if you noticed, but price of meat going up. You might see a shift where all of a sudden, like, gas prices looking good now, but gas prices could spike. You see a shift where it's like, we already knew bread and eggs already cost more. You might see a situation where it's like that poverty line just went like, I was above poverty line, but all of a sudden the poverty line coming right up to, you know what I'm saying, like, and a lot of technology is eliminating so many jobs. we've been put in a situation where these companies have now said, I've been able to function just as efficient on a skeleton crew, have my workforce, and I've been able to be just as efficient. You know what? When the PPP money run out, I might let half of them go and tell my people stay at home. And we still run this cycle. It's just something to think about. Imagine the new McDonald's where the person, it took you, a owner, 50 people to run that McDonald's. And now it might get turned to 10 people because I got a machine to flip my burgers, a machine to flip my fries. That black person who was in that McDonald's making $10 an hour, whatever, that Hispanic person, that white person, doesn't matter what the race is. But I guess my point is that lower wage individual, my
Mm-hmm.
people, might be hurt when all of a sudden it's like, I ain't even got this job down the street at the regular McDonald's no more I can go to, let alone go to. I mean, it just might be something to really consider because technology, what we're doing right now, might be shifting so much, and it won't be like I can go find a job down the street because you're gonna have a bunch of people already laid off. I mean, it's something to think about, dude. Something to really just say,
Yeah,
let me open
yeah,
my eyes and let me think about this. How do I expand and not think that it's gonna be just like it was pre-virus? You see what I'm saying? That's my point of why I want to make this video. Think about it and make sure you're moving the right way forward to protect you and yours.
yeah,
You got your own business coming up, notarizing papers. We gon' we forever will be in a situation where we're going to need signatures on authenticated and legalized, all the above, notarized by a third party to confirm.
mm-hmm.
And that's a viable situation right there. Now you're gonna have to do your thing to make sure you're doing your part to ensure you're being protecting. You got a kid, you got to make sure you protect your wife, et cetera, et cetera. But and your wife had to do the same to protect you with a kid. Same, but long story short, I just want people to think it ain't going. I just don't have a feeling. I just don't think like it's gonna be pre-virus, man. It's not happening. I don't see it.
Nah, no, I don't think so either. I feel like we are too deep into what the new norm is going to be for it to go back to that. I think, and honestly, us as Americans, we're really good on like our resiliency is very top notch. You know what I'm saying? So like, and really, and that's the one thing that I can say that the military sharpened because I've always been a resilient type of person, and as I'm sure most folks who grew up kind of hard um have, and they have that resiliency trait. But this is what this is something that we're gonna have to kind of weather the storm with, kind of roll with the punches, so to speak, and realize that what we were used to before it's not going to be as come and go as freely as it is. I mean, if you read stories now, some airports, you leave out of some states, you gotta fill out a questionnaire, and
Facts.
when you get back home, you gotta stay quarantined for like 14 days straight.
It's crazy, man.
So
It's
I mean,
crazy.
it is. I mean, it is what it is. But I mean,
Well, shoot,
through
man. I want to say this. Thank you for coming on the show, bro. I hope that the followers that check me out all the time will get something from our conversation.
yeah,
What I would like for you to do is, if you've never seen my videos before and you like what the content is about, hit that thumbs up. It helps the YouTube algorithm, as well as subscribe to my channel. I feel like I provide a lot of good content. Your boy T Perry. Thanks, T Perry, once again. Roy Rob. Um, and people stay safe. All right. Signing out. Peace.